what a dipper is? Yes, of course you do. I bet you've even seen one like this, used at home or in the school lunchroom, maybe to dip soup into a bowl. Here is a dipper made from a gourd. Now, while this is not an old dipper, it does show how the early pioneers and the Indians made dippers from the gourds that they grew. There's another kind of dipper that I can't show you, and yet I'm sure you've seen it. Can you guess the kind of dipper I'm talking about? That's right, it's made of stars. Oh, many's the night we see the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper lighting up the sky. Well, you may wonder why I've done all this talking about dippers, but I think you'll understand when you hear today's story. It's called The Drinking Gourd. Tommy Fuller was sitting in church. He put his right hand in his pocket. There was his apple. He put his left hand in his other pocket. There was his ball of fishing line. His brother whispered to him,
"Quit wiggling. Sit up straight."
The boys had been in church all day long. Mother and Father Dudley were downstairs with Grandmother Dudley and the rest of the grown-ups. All the children sat upstairs in the gallery. The girls were on one side, the boys were on the other. Across the way, Tommy could see his 3 sisters. He took a big bite of his apple. Then he took 3 more bites. He looked out the church window. He could see a flock of geese pecking at the grass. Just then, the minister, Reverend Morris, announced,
"Let us sing hymn 263.
Everyone stood up and sang. Tommy reached for his fishing line. He tied one end around his apple core. Tommy threw the core out the open church window. His brother whispered,
"You'll be sorry."
Out in the grass, 3 geese waddled over to see what the core could be. One goose pecked at it. Then she clamped the apple core tightly in her wide bill. Tommy tugged on his fishing line. The goose rose up into the air. She squawked and fluttered. She would not let go. All the other geese hissed and squawked and cackled too. Oh, they made such a racket that the noise filled the church. And everybody stopped singing. Reverend Morse looked up at the gallery and then down at Tommy's father.
Deacon Fuller, I'm afraid it's Thomas again."
Father stamped up into the gallery.
"Thomas Dudley Fuller, turn that thing loose."
Tommy dropped the line, and the goose fluttered to the ground. Father led Tommy out of church.
"You march straight home, sir, and go to your room."
Tommy walked along, thinking about spankings. It was dark by the time he reached home. He could see the evening star. He went to the barn to say hello to the horses. Father had named them Daniel Webster and Henry Clay. As Tommy gave them each an apple, he said,
"You don't have to be good in church, do you?"
The horses stamped and snorted. Tommy saw the hay wagon piled high with hay. Oh, he wanted to jump from the hayloft down into all that hay in the wagon. So up he climbed into the loft. He hollered down to the horses,
"Hi, Daniel Webster. Hi, Henry Clay. Look at me."
As Tommy jumped into the hay wagon, 2 hens squawked. Then something in the dim loft made a sound like a baby crying. Tommy called out,
"Who's there?"
Then Tommy climbed back into the loft to see what had made the noise. Again he called,
"Who's there?"
A black man stood up, covered with hay. He had an axe in his hand.
"Stop right there. You won't take us alive."
Oh, Tommy was so frightened he fell back into the hay. When the man could see who was there, he said,
"Oh, my goodness, Vinny. It's only a little boy."
And to Tommy he said,
"We just hiding. We won't hurt you."
"Does Father know you're here? What are you doing in our barn?"
"Is Deacon Fuller your daddy?"
Tommy nodded.
"He hid us here. This is my boy, little Jeff. I'm Big Jeff. This is my wife, Vinny, and this is my baby, Pearl. We're running away."
"Running away?"
"We up from Carolina. We're going to Canada. We've been following the Drinking Gourd every step of the way.
The Drinking Gourd? What's that? Shoot, boy. You mean you've never heard of the Drinking Gourd? I'll show you.
Little Jeff jumped down from the hayloft and ran to the barn door. Up in the sky, the stars shone. Little Jeff pointed to the Big Dipper.
That's the Drinking Gourd. No, that's the Big Dipper. Same thing. The front end of the Drinking Gourd points straight up to the North Star. Follow the North Star, you get to Canada. Get to Canada, and you be free.
From the shadows came another voice.
Thomas Dudley Fuller, didn't I tell you to wait in your room?
Father, I found Jeff and Vinny
I
and...
see who you found. You found all my passengers. Don't ask any questions. Help hitch up the horses. We've got to get started.
Tommy and Father sat in the front of the wagon. Jeff and Vinny and little Jeff and baby Pearl were hidden in the hay. They were driving toward the river. Jeff sat up in the hay.
I've been a slave all my life, Tommy, until 2 weeks ago. That was the day I decided we would run away to Canada on the Underground Railroad.
The Underground Railroad?
Little Jeff poked his head up, too.
Shoot, boy. You never heard about that, neither?
You see, Tommy, the Underground Railroad isn't a real railroad with steam engines and tracks and cars. It's a secret group of people who believe slavery is wicked. They live in homes and farms like ours, stretching from here to Canada. Everybody in the group hides people like Jeff and Vinny, helping them get away.
And they got stations on the Underground Railroad, like our barn.
And they got conductors.
Like me.
And they got passengers, like us.
They call it underground because it's secret. Every bit of it has to be secret.
You right. We valuable property. My old master lost $2,500 when he lost us, if he lost a penny.
Then I'm sure he'll send some men to try to catch you. So you get back down under that hay.
Nobody's gonna catch me as long as I got my axe.
Then Jeff and little Jeff hid from sight.
Tommy, don't say a word to anybody about what happened tonight. Jeff's a brave man. I'd hate to see a brave man sent back into slavery. Promise?
I promise.
Ooh, horses. This is the end of the line. I have to find the boat now. It's hidden here on the riverbank.
Father walked into the darkness. A whippoorwill called. Then Tommy heard hoofbeats down the road. He saw lanterns bobbing. 4 men on horseback rode up to the wagon and stopped. The men got down from their horses.
Say, young fella, I'm a U.S. Marshal. These are my men. We're going to search that wagon. We're looking for runaways.
Runaways?
A Negro slave, his wife, and 2 children. There's a reward for them. You wouldn't have them hidden in that wagon, would you, boy?
Tommy's mouth was dry.
You wouldn't find anything but hay in this wagon.
Maybe we'd better search it anyway.
Tommy was scared. He thought about little Jeff and the others hidden in the hay. If the marshal found them, he would send them back down south. They would have to be slaves. They would never be free.
Marshal, I guess I better tell you all about it. You see, I'm Tommy Fuller, and I'm running away myself.
You Deacon Fuller's boy?
That's right.
Shaw, this is the boy that made all that fuss in church this afternoon. Fishing for geese.
All the men laughed.
Father was boiling mad. He was going to give me a licking, so I ran away.
We're chasing the wrong wagon, boys. Tommy, you better go home to your pa and take your licking.
Yes, sir.
And next time you go fishing, tell your pa I want you to catch me 2 ducks and a nice fat turkey. That's an order.
All the men laughed. Then they rode away. Father came out of the shadows. Jeff and Vinny sat up in the hay. Jeff's axe was still in his hand.
Tommy, you did just fine.
I thought that marshal would find us sure enough this time.
Tommy was too scared to speak. They walked to the boat. Little Jeff jumped into the boat. Big Jeff helped Vinny and baby Pearl get settled. Then Father started to push the boat away from the shore. Tommy whispered,
Goodbye, little Jeff. Goodbye.
Father rode into the darkness and the boat was gone. It was late when Tommy got home. Everyone was asleep but Mother. She fixed Tommy some supper, and he told her everything that had happened. Then he went up to bed. But Tommy stayed awake, waiting for his father to get home. At last, he heard the front door slam, and Father came up to his room.
Tommy, I believe in obeying the law, but you and I broke the law tonight. The law says we were wrong to help Jeff and Vinny get away.
I know, Father, but can't you change that law?
I've been trying. We've been trying for years and years. Someday it will be changed. But right now the law says Jeff and Vinny are another man's property. Property same as a horse or cow or property worth $2,500.
But Jeff and Vinny are people.
Yes, that's why I can't obey that law. That's why I hate it. It's wrong.
Then Deacon Fuller kissed his son goodnight and closed the door. Tommy lay in bed thinking about little Jeff and the others. To himself he whispered,
If they just get to Canada, they can be free.
Out of his window, Tommy could see the bright North Star, and pointing up to it in the dark night sky sparkled the Drinking Gourd. And that was the story of the Drinking Gourd by F.N. Mongeau. Some of the homes that were used as stations on the Underground Railroad can still be seen today. Here is one near the Ohio River. Oh, slaves would stop at places like this to eat and rest before going on to follow the Drinking Gourd. Will you remember today's story the next time you see the Big Dipper or the North Star? I hope so. Goodbye.
The preceding program was made possible by a grant from the Ohio Department of Education.